a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Blessed and highly favored to be here, coming to you on the radio and TV show. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, please do. YouTube.com/Brandon Rhymes Realty. Got a great lineup for you here today. Per usual, as always, Dr. Harold Shinsky, author of A Champion's Mindset. We're going to talk with him about some recent studies that were done and some very good content centered around his book, 15 Mental Conditioning Steps to Becoming a Champion Athlete. Dr. Shinsky coming up on the second half. Batting leadoff today, we got Patrick Furlow, Step by Stage Interiors. We're going to talk a little real estate, some home staging, and how to maximize the profit when you're selling a real estate property. Also, a couple of national stories. Russell Brand talks corruption on Bill Maher's show. Interesting content coming up. More I hear from that guy. It's just kind of interesting to see and a little bit surprising. Also, SpaceX sued for not hiring illegals. And going to jump into those stories and more here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We appreciate you spending some time with us, supporting the local economy, supporting the show. And reach out to the hotline. We'd love to connect with you, 727-263-3707. Call or text that line. It's an off-air number, 727-263-3707. Any comments, questions, or introductions that you'd like also can be made through our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com. So as you know, my wife Lindsay and I own a top real estate team here in Tampa Bay. We like to feature our listings live on air as part of a strategy to maximize the exposure and the profit on the sale of our real estate properties. We got a new listing here, 17805 US 192 in Claremont. And close to Orlando, very, very close to Orlando. We got a commercial listing. We do list commercial, vacant land, and residential properties. And this is a great opportunity. The anchor tenant is a Denny's. So you've got the restaurant there, you got office space in the back. Great opportunity here to own real estate. If you're looking for a multi-tenant retail property, you've got almost 1,800 square foot of rentable space, 100% occupied, well-maintained, high-traffic retail space in a prime location. Lots of traffic going by every day, about 50,000 vehicles a day passing by, ample parking, 122 on-site parking spaces. This is a great opportunity. You're close to commercial, retail, and hospitality properties. Check out this listing, compliments of our friends in Orlando, the Meraki Group with Keller Williams Legacy in Orlando. 17805 US 192 in Claremont, one of our commercial co-listings with our friends in Orlando, the Meraki Group. Also, I want to bring you back over here to Pinellas County, talking about Mandalay Avenue, 861 Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach. We've got a gorgeous property available for sale, $1 million listing from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, beautiful beach home right here. This is what you've been looking for. You want to check this one out. Open floor plan, beautiful flooring, updated kitchen and baths. You've got a 900 square foot screened-in patio, and you are 200 steps from the sugar sand beaches and dolphin-filled waters of beautiful Clearwater Beach on the Gulf of Mexico. And you can see all of our listings online at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down.
All right. Welcome back in, Patrick. Good to see you, man.
It's good to be back. Thanks, Brandon.
Awesome. Let's jump right into it. So we talk about home staging. It's such a key element for the real estate space. And I remember in Gary Keller's book, often known as the Real Estate Bible, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, he talks about staging, and it's just it's not, it's like definitely you got to stage, especially if it's a vacant property.
That's right. And in the last 5 years, as staging has become more prevalent to the market, it's really more of an expectation versus just as an option now. It's that way because it is proven to attract more buyers, generates more online showings, gets people in, gets more phone calls to the buyer's agent, and ultimately allows our clients to choose between the highest and best offers, which is great. And we have a lot of great referrals and a lot of great success stories from that. So at the end of the day, I always like to say if I'm trying to sell my house and somebody calls me to want to list my property, I would hope they present staging on the table as a marketing option so they can know what they can do to help sell it more faster, more quickly versus, rolling the dice in the real estate casino, taking the chance and maybe coming up craps and trying to figure out what to do after 3 or 4 weeks, and it's not getting the traction you want.
Especially in today's market, now more than ever, I think staging is needed, because what you have is you have a rising interest rate environment thanks to Biden inflation. You have a days on market accumulating, and we all know that days on market are the enemy to your home's value. Now, we also have price reductions coming at a record number. So if you pull up any zip code in Tampa Bay, or imagine across the state too, you're going to see days on market up, the number of price slashing, price reductions there. So by hitting the market strong and hard that first 2 weeks with some really awesome staging by Step by Stage Interiors, Patrick Furlow and his wife Annie do an amazing job. And I'm speaking from experience. We've had some offers right up front, right up, day one on the market with their company. It just really makes so much more sense. And then what I like too is that a lot of times people say, man, and I actually had that question asked again the other day, and I forgot to tell you about it, so I'll tell you here on air. But I get questioned too. Hey, is the property or is the furniture for sale with the home? So you're selling the furniture sometimes too. Sure, here you can have the package.
Yep, that happens all the time, and we're in a first impression business, real estate. So
that's right.
If you're setting a first impression from the get-go, you're already setting yourself up for success versus rolling the dice and then just wondering what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and that's not an uncommon question, Brandon. We get probably like 1 out of every 2 or 3 houses inquire into purchasing some of the furniture, all the furniture, because people buy lifestyles, right? They're buying the property, but they're buying the lifestyle. So when they're looking at that online and in person, they're falling in love with that lifestyle, wanting that property, figuring out what they're going to do to be able to get it, and in turn, creating the offers a lot faster.
Absolutely. If you just joined us, folks, we're talking with Patrick Furlow here, Step by Stage Interiors. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And when we talk about real estate, it's an interesting, fluid market. There's a lot of changes all the time. And as a business owner, there's so many different challenges today, right? Just even comparing to 10, 15 years ago, you didn't have social media to deal with. You still had, hiring and firing and HR and those kind of things, operations. But can you imagine if the government stepped in and said, hey, we want you to hire these types of people versus these types of people? SpaceX sued for not hiring enough illegals, I guess. Here's SpaceX clip that I wanted to play.
The Department of Justice is suing SpaceX for hiring discrimination, saying it prioritized U.S. citizens over refugees and asylum seekers. But Elon Musk says the U.S. government repeatedly told him that arms trafficking laws require him to only hire American citizens. Daily Wire culture reporter Megan Basham is here now with more. So, Megan, what's the basis for this federal lawsuit?
Well, essentially, it's that SpaceX illegally discriminated against refugees, but it's a little more complicated than that because, of course, this company is SpaceX, and it makes rockets, spacecraft, satellite communications, and that puts it in the area of defense. It has contracts with the Pentagon, for instance. So, yeah, certainly different security regulations apply, and that seems to be the sticking point. So this lawsuit filed...
So anyways, just for sake of time, but when I first heard this, I'm like, wait a minute, what in the world? They want Elon to hire illegals that are coming across what they call them, refugees. And that's the name game too, right? It's a lot about the language we use, of course, right? NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So to say migrants, it's like, oh, well, they're just migrating, trying to find work. No, let's call them what they are. They're illegals. They crossed the border illegally. They didn't wait in line. They're butting in front of other people that have been waiting to come into the country legally. And then now you got the government coming after. And we know what it is. Remember when it's bought Twitter? It was the Twitter files. There's a lot of the Twitter files there. All of this stuff was uncovered and basically said, here, American people, world audience, take a look at all this data we found. Look at the Twitter files. Look what was uncovered through the collusion between the government and this huge company that was censoring people, etc. We all know that story, but that just really shocked me when I heard that, Patrick.
Yeah, it's crazy to me to think that. I just think of the story and I'm like, what are we doing here in this country? What the heck is going on, right?
Yeah.
Why, I'm a college graduate. I have a lot of experience in sales, but if I'm applying for a position at SpaceX, there's very few positions that I'm even probably qualified for that they're going to be hiring for positions in rocket science, analytics, systems design. You really think a lot of these people that maybe are seeking asylum or migrants are going to have that type of skill set? I don't think so.
Right.
And even if they did, they're still coming through illegally. You still have people that are here on valid visas or green cards that maybe have the skill sets to apply for SpaceX and perhaps get hired if there's a position available for it. But to make a big deal out of this is just creating a bunch of noise for no reason, just to have something to talk about in the news and hold somebody else accountable who tends to have type of a conservative viewpoint.
Yep.
Attacking them on dumb stuff that shouldn't even be a story. And that's where that is with this. It's so stupid.
It's another version of lawfare. It's like, hey, get in line, follow the regime's orders. Same thing they're doing with Donald J. Trump. They're going to try to keep him off the ballot. I was listening to Charlie Kirk's show yesterday, and he kind of laid out the format and the plan and how it all comes down the line. But yeah, this, they're corrupting our country. They're poisoning the minds of young people. Think about a young person that's just now kind of seeing all this. They're like, wow, this person must be bad because he got sued, or this person's been indicted 4 times. He must be. They just don't understand, and they don't have the critical thinking skills as well. And then on the other side of the coin too, if you look at what Elon's doing, he's building a lot of his vehicles in China. So he's not necessarily the great conservative that people think he's turning out to be. He's in bed with the enemy in some cases. If you look at the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and of course modern day slavery in record numbers, over 1 million Uyghur Muslims, under modern day slavery. So it's interesting though. Look at where we're at in this country. Here we are in the middle of 2023, and you're just like, wow, every day. The news cycle is like every day you wake up, it's like, what today?
And Elon's no saint, like you said, with, a lot of what Tesla does is they operate electric vehicles. And where do you think a lot of the raw materials and components come? Most of those come from China. So there is business dealings that have to be done on an international level. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're supportive of what a regime or a position of power is doing in that country. Yeah. Sometimes materials are in different places and you need them to run your business, and that's the way it is. But materials are a little bit different than people trying to do the wrong thing and then cry about it when they're not getting hired for something that they shouldn't be hired for in the first place.
Exactly. And I was going to ask Alex if so Elon, the big talk too was about the fight with him and Zuck. Is that still on or is that off? What's the latest with that thing? Have you followed it?
No, I think a lot of that was kind of a publicity thing. Elon was taking it more of like a charity type thing, and Zuckerberg, for whatever reason, which I want to punch in the face right now, because he just recently tried to ban me on Meta, but that's another story. But I think he's all gassed up now because he thinks he's been doing jiu-jitsu for like 1.5 years, and he thinks he can really fight now. Yeah. But I mean, I'm open to fight him if we could set that up.
Set it up. Come on. I hope they would. That'd be so cool. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see and how this all plays out. But it's unprecedented. I'm going to talk later on in the program about some other studies that were done. It's a really interesting story. Dr. James Lindsay, he was on Charlie Kirk's show, and I'm going to bounce this off of Dr. Harold Shinsky coming up, but he was on Charlie Kirk's show, and he put out these like fake academic stories, and they got published in these journals. So I mean, they're publishing these academia stories too on one hand, and pointing at it like, oh, but it was published, it's true. So they're doing this now in lawfare. This is the thing they're doing, and they're saying, they'll have a legal scholar come out and say something to the effect that, oh, well, yeah, if it's proven that Trump violated the 14th Amendment, then he shouldn't be on the ballot, and therefore he can't hold. And you saw Asa Hutchinson and Mike Pence referring to this. He shouldn't be on the ballot. He's not allowed to be on the ballot. So now they're looking for any way to keep him off. Oh, let me follow that line of thinking. And then what happens is, so they have this legal scholar or legal opinion that comes out, and then it gets echoed in the New York Times, the Atlantic magazine, and then of course now you got maybe a congressman or a state senator, somebody jumps on it, and then now they're filing court. So anyways, long roundabout story, but this SpaceX thing, I think it's the first layer of what they're trying to do. Who knows? They might try to put him in jail too.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. You see the divide has been created, in my opinion, ever since really we've gotten to the Obama years. I think a lot of the things that he's done has really set this country up for the struggles that we're in now.
No doubt.
To be completely honest with you. And it's disappointing just to see that so many folks are so angry on a daily basis when it comes to politics, and they just can't just leave that stuff out of their life and let these guys, like that one guy who just made like the Rich Men from Richmond video or whatnot. I listened to that for the first time the other day. That just has a lot of merit and so many truths, but it's just really frustrating that these deep state, these crazy lunatic, left-wing liberals, in my opinion, if you're listening to the program, you don't like it, turn it off. But let's be honest, like, you guys just take everything to the next level and you just blow proportional stories that don't need to be blown out of the, they're out of the water. It's just ridiculous.
Exactly. Yep. They're trained Marxists. That's what they are.
I'd be interested to see what happens in the next 5 years in this country.
Our preacher, Pastor Q, had a really good message this weekend because I want to bring it back to something positive, right? And then we're going to go to break. But concern is great. You want to have, and Stephen Covey talked about a sphere of concern and a sphere of influence. What can I actually influence, right? Concern leads to prayer. Worry leads to fear. So let's not worry as Christians, as people of faith. Let's be concerned, and let's pray, and let's influence those people that we can. So let's take a quick break. More with Patrick Furlow coming up here on the flip side of this break. Step by Stage Interiors, home staging. We're going to talk more real estate here as well. And I've got a clip I'm going to play on Russell Brand. Talks corruption on Bill Maher. Interesting clip coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you check us out online, consumerqb.com.
Hey, everybody, it's the Captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy, Brandon Rhymes, a Consumer Quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.
Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, we appreciate you spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. More with Patrick Furlow coming up here in just a moment. Step by Stage Interiors. And before we do, a couple of hot listings from the team here, Platinum MVP team. Also, our friend in the Carolinas, Heaton Forest Road, 530 Heaton Forest Road. Bill DeVore, real estate team up in the Carolinas, has this listing. It's kind of a co-listing situation where we have this property for sale. It is 11 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, 10,000 square feet, 530 Heaton Forest Road, Cashiers, North Carolina. You got a mansion for sale, beautiful property here on High Hampton. It's in the golf course there where you have lots of celebrities golfing, Mickelson, Michael Jordan, and others golfing at this place. Cashiers, North Carolina, really cool, exclusive club and just a great area in the mountains. Check out this property at Bill DeVore Real Estate's, his website, 530 Heaton Forest Road. Also, Riverview, Florida, right here, 11722 County Road 672 in Riverview. We've got a commercial property for sale. It's also could be viewed as a residential. Maybe you just want to live there and have a lot of land, but it's 20 acres encompassing a farm that also has, you've got palm trees, citrus trees. You have a single-family home. You have an expansive 40-foot by 100-foot warehouse and a lot of storage with your farming needs, and also great opportunity to own real estate here. You can see all of our listings, PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Yeah, I'm racing my class to those saving our ass overseas.
All right, Patrick Furlow in the house here. Step by Stage Interiors. What are some of the other commonly asked questions or scenarios that come up when it comes to home staging?
Well, I actually just had this one yesterday, so it's bearing to this conversation. So I think a lot of the misconception sometimes around staging is that it's only for houses that are kind of awkward or ugly, or they just need something to make it look better.
Right.
But, for the 13 years now, gosh, 13 years has been a moment. But for 13 years we've been in business, we've staged everything from 1-1 condos to double wides to 8-figure multi-million-dollar properties and everything in between. Model homes, spec houses, houses that are in great shape. It really works in all different scenarios and circumstances. Our bread and butter clients are $300,000 to $900,000 properties.
Yeah.
That's where most of our stagings come from. And that's where we see most of our great results from, too. So the everyday person, the middle-class folk that don't feel like that, their house doesn't deserve it, it's just a bunch of bupkis. Like, everything can get staged. Like, we just did a double wide last week, and it's the nicest double wide I've ever seen.
Nice.
I can't believe this is a double wide. When you look at it from the outside in Plant City, it's immaculate.
Yeah.
The flipper did an amazing job with this property. It looks awesome on the inside. And another one, we had like a little Spanish bungalow, like mid-century Spanish bungalow in Lakeland. It went on the market on Friday. We had open houses on Saturday and Sunday, and it's already got multiple offers, and they accepted one for over asking price on Monday.
Yeah.
So it works, and that was listed for somewhere in the low to mid fours. So it's for everybody and everything.
Yeah, and on that note, I've got a double wide right now that's listed, and it's in an area, I believe it's Zephyr Hills, where on Diana and Zephyr Hills, if you have USDA financing, you can do 100% financing on some of these properties, depending on if it's in that rural kind of a landscape. So yeah, I mean, great opportunity. That rural scene, I think people are moving a little bit out of the state, out of the in the middle of the city, over to the suburbs, more rural areas, and enjoying, having that dirt bike in the shed or whatever they might want to do, have that ATV and go out and enjoy, park their trucks in the yard, their trailers,
no
things
HOA,
like that.
You can do what you want.
Exactly.
Deal. There's always the risk with an HOA versus not an HOA. You never know what kind of kooky neighbor you're going to live to in a non-HOA and be like, great, now I'm stuck with them for however long.
Yeah, it's a risk.
I'll take the risk. We live in a non-HOA historical neighborhood in Lakeland, and we have a great street, great neighborhood, and people aren't crazy, so it's all good. Yeah,
that's awesome. Speaking of crazy, I got another clip here to play. I come across these clips here and there, and I just feel like I need to share them with the audience. But this Russell Brand, he's an actor, and now he's got his own talk show, but he comes up with some pretty interesting things, and he's with his fame and notoriety, he's on some pretty big stages. This was a clip from him with Bill Maher.
You have to listen. Do you think you can improve America by determinedly and avowedly condemning Fox News? news without acknowledging that you're participating in the same game? Did you not just listen to someone who plainly, legitimately believes in this country and believes it's possible to change, but is bound by corruption, is bound by the lobbying system? Surely it's clear to you, Bill, as one of the great pundits and experts and comic voices, that systemic change is required. Money has to be taken out of politics. We need new political systems that genuinely represent ordinary Americans so that we can overcome cultural differences and bickering about...
Yeah, I love it. I mean, he's just calling it out, man. He's so eloquent in the way he speaks, and he's saying, yeah, the lobbying system, the money in politics, and that's what's gotten us to where we're at. This uniparty and this deep state that people, and it's aware now. If people are aware of it, where they want to kind of ignore it to a certain extent. Some people do, and they just say, oh, no, I'm still going to vote blue or whatever, right? But you got the most amount of crime you've ever had. You got homelessness issues. You've got crime at record numbers. You got the cost of living. You got taxes. Oh, yeah, but they're still going to vote blue rather than giving, the other side a chance. But it speaks a lot of volumes there, doesn't it?
And some people are nearsighted. You can't see things down the road when you're stuck voting on party lines. And then I always consider myself as someone who likes to vote for the candidate versus party, but a lot of times, I kind of lean towards party because the other side of the party is just so ludicrous with their policies and their decision making. But Russell Brand, I've had an opportunity to listen to him multiple times, and if you haven't had a chance to listen to Russell Brand on whether his podcasts or shows that he's been on, he is incredibly well spoken, very eloquent, and very, very intellectually smart. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, very articulate and does a great job, and it's interesting to see somebody come from that sphere that is just not a goofball, like some of these other folks that have no reason commenting in because the things they say are just ridiculous. But Patrick, summarize it up for us here in 30 seconds. How do people connect, and what are they looking to do?
Sure. So at the end of the day, if you're looking to sell your house faster and for the most possible amount, then that's what we're here for. We are here to help people move on from their homes. It might be a difficult time for the reasons why you're selling. Everybody sells a house for a different reason. It can be very stressful. So if we can help make an impact and make the transactional process as smooth as possible and as quickly as possible for top dollar, that's what we're here for.
What's the website?
StepByStageInteriors.com, and we're on social media, Facebook at StepByStage and Instagram at StepByStage.
All right, good stuff, man. Appreciate it. Dr. Harold Chinitzky coming up here, A Champion's Mindset. He's an author. He's a doctor here in Tampa Bay. Dr. James Lindsay clip, too, that I'm going to play. Also, this new study on kids and cell phones. Very interesting. I'm going to bounce it off Dr. Chinitzky coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.